You're not bad at making friends. You're just tired of pretending. Most people think adult friendships are hard because everyone's busy. Jobs, kids, responsibilities. That's what we tell ourselves. But that's not the whole story, because you can be in a room full of people and still feel completely alone. You can have a calendar full of coffee dates and dinner plans and still go home feeling like nobody really knows you. That's not about being busy, that's about something deeper. Here's what's actually happening. Somewhere between childhood and now, we learned that real connection is risky. We learned that showing people who we actually are might make them leave. So we started performing. We became really good at small talk, really good at surface-level conversations, really good at being liked without being known. And now, even when we want real friendship, we don't know how to build it anymore.
Think about your last conversation with someone new. Maybe at work, maybe at some social event. You probably talked about the weather or what you do for a living or some show everyone's watching. Safe topics, easy topics, the kind of conversation where you can predict every response before it happens. You walk away thinking, that was nice, but you don't walk away thinking, I want to see that person again. Because nothing actually happened. No real exchange took place. You shared space, you shared words, but you didn't share anything that mattered. That's the intimacy deficit. We're starving for real connection while surrounded by casual acquaintances.
Now compare that to how you made friends as a kid. You didn't need an agenda. You didn't need common interests or networking opportunities. You just needed someone who would play with you. Someone who'd be weird with you. Someone who would tell you their secrets on the playground and trust you to keep them. Kids don't perform friendship. They just do it. They cry when they're sad. They laugh when something's funny. They get mad and then get over it 5 minutes later. They're messy and honest, and they don't apologize for taking up space. But then we grew up. And growing up meant learning to hide. Maybe you cried once and someone told you to stop being so sensitive. Maybe you got excited about something and someone made you feel stupid for caring so much. Maybe you trusted someone and they used it against you. So you learned. You learned that the real you wasn't safe to show. And that learning didn't just go away when you became an adult. It's still here. Every time you think about being vulnerable with someone, that old voice whispers, remember what happened last time? Remember how that felt? Better to keep it light. Better to keep it safe. So you do. You keep it light. You keep it safe. And you wonder why you can't make real friends anymore. Here's the thing about surface-level friendships. They're easy to start, but impossible to sustain. Because they're built on nothing. There's no foundation. You're not actually connecting with the person. You're connecting with a version of themselves they're willing to show strangers. And they're doing the same with you. It's like trying to build a house on sand. It looks fine at first, but the moment any real weather comes, the whole thing falls apart. And adult life is full of weather. Stress, heartbreak, failure, loss. The kind of stuff that requires real friends. The kind of friends who know you well enough to show up without being asked. The kind of friends who can sit with you in silence because they understand what you're going through. But those friendships don't happen by accident. They happen because someone took a risk. Someone said something real. Someone stopped performing and started being honest. And the other person matched that energy. And slowly, over time, trust got built. Not because everything was perfect, but because both people decided that being known was worth the risk of being hurt. That's what we're missing. We're waiting for friendship to feel safe before we get vulnerable. But it doesn't work that way. Vulnerability is what creates safety, not the other way around. Let me give you an example. You're talking to someone and they ask how you're doing. You have two options. Option 1, you say, fine, everything's good, just busy. Safe answer, expected answer. The conversation continues, but nothing deepens. Option 2, you tell the truth. You say, honestly, I've been struggling a bit lately. Work's been overwhelming and I'm feeling kind of disconnected from everyone. Option 2 is scary, because what if they don't care? What if they change the subject? What if they think you're too much? All valid fears. But here's what actually happens most of the time. They relate, because they're struggling too, because everyone is struggling with something,
And suddenly, the conversation shifts. You're not just talking at each other anymore, you're talking with each other. You're building something real. But we don't do that. We stay at option one. We stay safe. We protect ourselves from rejection by never giving anyone the chance to actually see us. And then we wonder why we feel so alone. This is especially hard if you grew up in an environment where vulnerability was punished. Maybe your parents didn't know how to handle emotions, so they shut you down when you expressed them. Maybe your friends in school mocked anyone who seemed too sensitive. Maybe you learned early that sharing your feelings made you a target. If that's your story, then adult friendships feel even more impossible. Because you're not just learning how to be vulnerable now, you're unlearning years of conditioning that told you vulnerability equals danger. That's exhausting work, and it makes sense why you'd rather just skip it and stick to small talk. But small talk won't fix the loneliness. It'll just make you better at hiding it. Here's another reason adult friendships feel so hard. We've professionalized everything. We network instead of connect. We optimize our social calendars. We treat friendship like another task to manage. Meet up once a month, send a text every few weeks, maintain the relationship with the minimum required effort. That's not friendship, that's relationship management. And it feels hollow because it is hollow. You can't schedule intimacy. You can't optimize vulnerability. Real friendship is messy. It's unpredictable. It's showing up when it's inconvenient because you actually care about the person, not because it fits into your productivity system. We've also gotten really good at blaming our circumstances. I'd have more friends if I had more time. I'd be closer to people if I wasn't so busy. I'd open up more if the right person came along. All of these might be partly true, but they're also excuses. Because the truth is, you're not too busy for the things you actually prioritize. You find time for work, you find time for Netflix, you find time for scrolling through your phone. The issue isn't time. The issue is that vulnerability feels harder than all of those things. It feels risky. It feels exposing. So we avoid it and blame our schedules instead. Let's talk about what real friendship actually requires. First, it requires consistency. Not the kind of consistency where you meet up once a month like clockwork, the kind where you're actually present in someone's life. You remember what they told you last week. You check in when you know they're going through something hard. You show up, not perfectly, but regularly. Second, it requires reciprocity. Both people have to be willing to be real. If one person is always vulnerable and the other person stays guarded, that's not friendship, that's therapy without a license. Real friendship is mutual. Both people take turns being the one who needs support and the one who gives it. Third, it requires acceptance. You have to be willing to let people be flawed, to let them disappoint you sometimes, to let them be human. Because perfect friendships don't exist, and if you're waiting for someone who never annoys you or never lets you down, you'll be waiting forever. But here's what we do instead. We hold people at arm's length until they prove they're worthy of our trust. We test them without telling them we're testing them. We wait for them to be vulnerable first so we don't have to take the risk. And meanwhile, they're doing the exact same thing to us. So nobody moves, nobody opens up, and everyone stays lonely. The intimacy deficit isn't about lacking people in your life, it's about lacking depth with the people you have. You might have a dozen friends and still feel completely unseen because those friendships never go below the surface. They stay in the safe zone, the zone where nobody gets hurt, but nobody gets truly connected either. So what do you do about it? You start small. You don't have to trauma dump on every person you meet, but you can practice being a little more honest, a little more real. When someone asks how you are, try telling them the truth occasionally. Not the whole truth, not all at once, but something real. Something that gives them a chance to see you as a person, not just a friendly face. And when someone else is vulnerable with you, don't minimize it. Don't change the subject. Don't make a joke to lighten the mood. Just listen. Just be there. Show them that their honesty is safe with you, because that's how trust gets built. One small moment of realness at a time. You also have to get comfortable with the fact that not everyone will match your energy. Some people are perfectly content with surface-level friendships. Some people aren't ready for deeper connection, and that's okay. That's not a rejection of you. That's just where they are. Let them be there, and keep looking for the people who are ready for something real.
Because those people exist. They're out there, feeling just as lonely as you are, just as tired of pretending, just as hungry for real connection. But you won't find them by staying safe. You'll find them by taking risks, by being honest, by showing up as yourself and hoping someone else is brave enough to do the same. The intimacy deficit isn't permanent. It's just a pattern, and patterns can be broken. But it starts with you deciding that being known is worth more than being liked, that real friendship, even with all its risks, is better than the loneliness of performing for people who don't actually know you. You're not bad at making friends. You're just done with fake ones. And that's actually a good thing. It means you're ready for something deeper, something real. You just have to be willing to build it, one honest conversation at a time. Because what feels like isolation is really just your soul saying, I'm tired of small talk. I'm ready for connection that actually matters. And the moment you start honoring that, the moment you stop performing and start being real, that's when real friendship becomes possible again. You're not alone in feeling alone. You're just waiting in the wrong place. Stop waiting for safe. Start building real. The friends you're looking for are looking for you too.
If you want more psychology videos that explain your personality in ways society never validated, help me to hit that subscribe button, because the next video might reveal something about yourself you've always felt but never had the words to express.